Time to shine today. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Rapid Results podcast with my awesome sauce good friend, Andrew Weiss. Let's level up.
Woo! All
Woo!
right. Thank you, Scott, for the awesome introduction. That was so fun.
My
And
God.
in case you all haven't noticed, there's a reason why I brought Scott Ferguson on today. He's one of the most high energy, enthusiastic, good vibes, love for everybody person. And I'm like, I got to bring this guy on my show. And so, per usual, Scott, tell us what is the biggest, most badass professional accomplishment you're most proud of?
Professional accomplishment would have been in 2003 in Michigan. I closed 601 real estate transactions in a year. So you put that down to how many a day, and it was a crazy year. But at that time, it was like if you had a pulse and you told people you made so much money, they were just giving away loans. So it was easy to do that, and the interest rates were historically low at the time. Believe it or not, they were 6%, and they were historic low then. So there's a lot of action, and I had a lot of fun. But of course, I didn't listen to my mentors about protecting money, so I ended up losing it all anyway. So, but that's probably one-off. That's probably my most uh, proud, but also shameful moment as well.
Oh my gosh, really talking about the roller coaster of any entrepreneur or
Yeah,
business owner is just like making it to the top and then losing it all.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, what I want to do is tell us about the journey of how you got, well, obviously you have military experience in the Navy, but how did you get involved in real estate? And then obviously you shifted to having a coaching business, a speaking business,
Yeah.
you're on the radio. How did this all start? Tell us about that journey.
It goes back to 19. It seriously goes back to 1972. I was born. I'm 50 years old this year. My
Woo.
lady will tell you I don't act it, more like 12, but that's okay. And seriously though, Andrew, thank you for having me on, brother.
Oh, of
It's an
course.
honor what you do for people, level them up and whatnot. And you're a young buck, compared to me. So I'm just so grateful that the future is in people's hands like yourself. But
Thank you.
I was born during the Vietnam War, and
Wow.
my father was American, my mother was Filipino. My dad knocked her up. He was just a sailor or a soldier that was in the Philippines. Knocked her up and then left. And I was told that he had died, but there's another story to that on down the road. But anyways, he she gave birth to me, but at the time, mixed breed bastard male children were literally taken from their mothers and shipped to Spain because Spain controls the Philippine Islands.
Wow.
And the reason why that was done is, I'm 6'1", I go about 260, I'm a pretty big dude, pretty well put together. And if you had, tens of thousands of these kids growing up there, the average Filipino man is about 5'4", 5'5". They're afraid of a physical takeover. Although it probably
Mhm.
would have never happened, but that's what they're afraid of. So they were shipping the bastard children out. But I would happen to have a couple that was there in the Air Force that were looking, they had two children, they wanted to adopt a child. So she gave birth to me, gave them to these people who were going to be my parents. And the woman that was going to adopt me, her father got sick. And so I got a temporary passport, which I still have in my possession, and I was a little guy, to go back to the United States. And well, when they're there, her father died and she couldn't handle raising another child. So she went schizophrenic. So I was kind of dropped out of an orphanage, right? So
Jeez.
I'm hanging out there in the orphanage, and I ended up getting adopted by who I call my mom and dad now. And
Mhm.
they adopted me. They did their best at raising me. My father, he's my best friend in the world, my ride or die. But at the time, he was a Vietnam vet and he was a heavy drinker, and so he
Mm.
couldn't really raise me. They divorced by the time I was 4 years old. He decided, to have me live with different families the whole time. So I grew up with this huge, huge sense of abandonment, and I played the victim a lot. Okay, and
Mm.
so I went through high school, excelled at sports, but not academia. So any scholarships that I would have been offered, they really didn't want anybody with a 1.8 grade point average. So it was like, here I
Yeah.
am. So the military was there. My dad's like, you're not going to live here for free, this and that. And of course, being a young teenager, we know everything. So like, whatever, dad. So literally, I ended up joining the military. and found my first real source of family. Your ride or dies, the people that are there for you, life, death, hard target situations, whatever you want to call it. And I did my 6 years in the military, and I got out, and I was back to where I was before. And so, but I could never work for anybody because you have to answer to somebody 24 hours a day, 365, 66 days a year in the military. So, I started seeing these like real estate things. I got a bartending job, seeing these realtors coming in and nice clothes, nice cars. And they're just like, oh man, you have the personality to be a great agent. So I joined, and I just excelled immediately because I had so much rejection in my life before that if someone told me no, I didn't care. When I'd fail, I failed forward. I didn't care. And so I built a very substantial business in the state of Michigan, and then had closed a lot of business. And my mentors, I was luckily able to be mentored by just fantastic people. But they told me, watch your money, Fergie, watch your money. And I never did. And then in 08, 09, when the market crashed, I kind of lost everything and literally was homeless because, my ex-wife who had a house, she was letting me stay at for free. She's like, I have to rent it out. So I lived with my dog, a Rhodesian Ridgeback, Rhodey, in my car only for like 3 days. What happened is a family was like, hey, we want you to list our house. We're moving to Florida. So I listed their house, put it on the market, and without telling them, me and Rhodey lived there. And we took the money from the sale of that house and rented an apartment. And then it just started really catching on. But the thing that I'm leaving out is that while building and printing all that money, I was very selfish and self-serving. Now, selfish does not mean anything bad. If you look in a dictionary, just saying you're putting yourself first so you can take care of others. That's not. I was very I was a douchebag. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care what anybody did. I showed up at family reunions and in $50, $60, $100,000 cars, thinking I'm better than everybody. Lost everything, and I could have went to one of my family members. They would have took care of me, but I was too ashamed. Right? I just kind of fell on my face. And then 09, my little brother Tommy killed himself, so just threw me into a spiral. And then in 10, we get back to where we listed that one property, and I went to the library at the time to kill time, and because I had a place to keep my dog where I could leave him at the library. And this guy handed me a book, said you should read this, called The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. Fantastic book changed my life. In a nutshell, it's a guy that goes he loses his job, his daughter's sick, terminal illness. He's like, hey, if I kill myself, they'll get the insurance money and everything, it would be good. So he runs his car into a tree, and like he thinks he's dead, but he wakes up in 1945 in Harry Truman, give him hell, Harry Truman's office the day before we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. And he learned a lesson about responsibility. And then he meets like King Solomon for wisdom, and he meets Anne Frank for happiness. And that book really shifted my vision of, hey man, it's not everything's about you. You can get a lot further in life helping others. And so that's when the market had crashed. A lot of people were losing their houses. And I put a full force focus on helping them save their house, save their credit, getting them to another house. And I did that. And I closed even more than I did in 2003 by helping people, get what they needed. And that just shifted everything. And that was, again, 2009, 2010. And that's when I had really launched Time to Shine Today, and just started really helping people level up, Andrew. And I'm way more interested in your story than telling mine. That's why I have a hard time coming on podcast interviews, with telling my story. And it's nothing that I'm ashamed of. It's just I love to hear other people's stories, And like when I have you on, I can't wait to hear.
Yes,
that's just kind
100%.
That's the story. And there is one kicker to the story. When my mom gave birth to me, she kept a twin sister, and she ended up I ended up reconnecting with her in 2005.
What? And, that's so cool.
This is even another kicker that I just found out a year ago. My biological father, who said got killed in Vietnam, didn't die until 2019, and I have a ton of family on that side. What? So, and I found all this out through spitting in a cup, the 23andMe kind of thing. So,
wow.
It's been a heck of a journey. It's been a lot of fun. Would I change a few things? Absolutely. Everyone says I wouldn't change a thing. I would change a few things of what I did to people to hurt them, but everything else, the experience was fantastic.
So you have like 10 families.
I know, right? I do. Yeah. Yeah.
You got
And
the biological family, the first adopt family, the
yeah.
second adopt family, the military family, your wife family.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm leaving 5 families out, but
Well, you get, you have a jujitsu family, you have your coaching family, and a podcasting family. So yeah, you're
yeah.
right. I have families like all over the place. Absolutely.
Oh, that's super awesome. So yeah, so tell us with your relationship with your biological mother, what's that currently like, or what's that been like? I'm curious about that.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. She ended up passing away before I even met her. Right. And,
Mm.
other than, coming out of her,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
she had
yeah.
passed away, but she had told the family that that she had a secret. And that's what they told her. No one even knew. And she died suddenly of a brain aneurysm.
Wow.
So, I guess I was the secret. That's what everyone's put to bed, that whole thought of, it being a secret. So it was it's somebody that I have pictures of now. And I actually have a picture of her pregnant with me and Jovi, my twin.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a pretty cool, you know, um, situation that I have family just all over the place. Literally, I have the same blood running in my veins because I look at people like my lady Susan, and she's got 4 kids. I'm like, that is you. That is a part you made that, and I've never experienced really meeting somebody that made me, and it was so cool to meet somebody with a heartbeat that carried the same
Mm,
bloodline. So
mhm.
people take that for granted. That man, it's like that's why I say look at your parents and hug them. And
Yeah.
my adopted parents did what they felt was their best with me, and me and my mom before she passed away in 19. We were really good friends too. They didn't do too much parenting, but they did their best, and I love them
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of family and hugs, I do feel like it is an unfortunate big issue. But it's tricky because I'm in the Twitter space a lot, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, people are only successful because they asked their family for help."
Mm,
But you're like, "Well, my life would have been better if I had asked my family for help, but I didn't because I
sure.
was too ashamed."
Yeah.
And so I'm curious your thoughts on asking your family for help and what your advice is to people about that and your perspectives on that.
Oh, absolutely ask them. That their family. That's one thing about family is that they love you no matter what, to an
Hmm.
extent, I guess you could say, but they'll
Yeah.
love you no matter what.
Hmm.
So I would, as time went on and I lost stuff, I made amends with my dad, and I'm like, Pop, man, I'm running on 4 ball tires, and he literally, he gave me some money. And thing is, he's like, that's one of the greatest joys I ever had was to be able to give you something because I felt that I failed you earlier in life. That when
Mm.
you came to me and asked for something, it felt good. And I'm like, man, so now I hope that my goddaughter Kelsey, she comes to me, or other people come to me, because you start making a little money, and then the theory of relativity happens. You make money, everyone's your relative, right? They come to you, right? But at the same time, I'm also love to give until it hurts so good. And if I can help somebody out that's genuinely in need, I'm not somebody that's just a handout guy. Sorry, man. I
Yeah.
fought for this country to give you opportunity to go get your own.
Hmm.
But to stay close with family, I really, really push people, my clients, everybody, really have that close knit family, because that they're the people that really love you, no matter how they show it.
And tell us, how do you overcome the guilt of accepting things from family? And maybe it's just the space that I read about. The classic example right now is Jeff Bezos getting crucified. Like, oh, he's only successful because he got a $300,000 loan from his family,
Mhm.
but he also more than 1,000x that $300,000
Yeah,
loan.
sure.
And so so for those people who know they have resources for their family, who know they need help with their family, what would you tell them to help prevent guilt from getting help from their family, essentially?
Don't have it. I mean, if
Mm.
the family's willing to help, people do come to me because of the position I'm in, and I'm able to help. But if you're going to go to the family for help and have no guilt, have a plan with what you're
Mhm.
going with. That's what I tell people. They want to have a meeting with me. to invest in something or to help them out. And I'm just like, have an agenda ready, send it to me. So even if it's a 2-line thing, email, so I know what I'm coming into. So when you're going to approach that, have the plan. If not, I'm not going to part with something that I worked my arse off to earn to give to you with no plan for it. And there's people out there that really need it. And I have no problem parting with that. I'm really big on children awaiting parents because I'm adopted, so I donate a lot to children awaiting parents. And they're usually the kids that are mentally handicapped, unadoptable. So I give a lot, to them, and also St. Jude's. And those are the people, that I don't even think twice, but anybody else or any other, a federation or a company or whatever, they come to me. I do want to see a plan. And so if you're in a position where you need to go to your family, have a plan, and if it's they want it to be paid back, have a plan for that. It's just have it and stick to it and put it in ink, and so you have that as a reminder, and they will too, to show you owe me money,
Yeah.
if it's a loan. So yeah, I mean, don't have guilt. And I mean, if you have the wherewithal to take care of yourself, do that before you approach somebody. But if you're in a pinch, don't be guilty.
Yeah, no, I love that. And going back to your positive attitude, you said that the book was called the Time Traveler's Wife.
Traveler's Gift. Yeah.
The Traveler's Gift.
Yeah.
So would you say that was the pivotal moment in your life, was reading that book?
Bro, yeah, it was the lessons that you taught in there from responsibility. Like even when I coach people, and I'll ask you this, Andrew, if you don't mind me flipping the script here, but what is your definition of responsibility?
I'd say it goes back to understanding what you need to do to help yourself and others and doing it.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love that
I
answer.
define it.
That's beautiful. And you'd be coachable with that answer, and I tell them, listen, man, responsibility is nothing more than the ability to respond, right? It's rooted right in the word. So something happens to you, you have the ability to respond. You lose your job, you have the ability to respond. You lose your wallet after you get done saying every curse word available, you have the ability to respond to it. A business deal goes sideways, you have the ability to respond. It's like with your beautiful fiance, she has the ability to respond to anything she has in her business, the show business, right? As for you as well. So that's the big lesson out of the first chapter of the book, and then he meets King Solomon for wisdom and always getting wisdom. And Anne Frank, if anyone knows any kind of Holocaust story, what Anne Frank went to, and if you read the diary of Anne Frank, she's happy throughout the whole thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So you had Abraham Lincoln, who he met, who about decision making, and also Joshua Chamberlain, who's somebody not really many people know about, but he's the one that held the flank in the Gettysburg, Battle of Gettysburg, to help the North win. And strategic mindset is another person he met. But this guy just goes through different periods of time and meets with them. And each person was like, I've been waiting for you. Like Harry Truman's like, yeah, someone said that you're going to be coming. I'm here to give you this. And he gives them like a little scroll with an awesome lesson. And it's something that and Andy is a great guy, real Southern guy. He's actually a Christian comedian, funny guy. But, just that book really shifted how everyone says pivot now. I go back to the old school with shift, or we could call it, we could call it shivot. If you want to,
yeah.
But no, like I was able to shift my mindset into one more of prosperity, but prosperity that starts with service, right? So that's what that book really drew out of me.
Yeah, no, it is definitely funny and humorous how many times people use the P word, pivot, in 2020 and 2021. But
it was kind of like shift back in the 10s.
Yes, exactly.
Like, we're going to shift this, so. Yes. I get it. You just, everything evolves, and it might evolve in a bad way. You look at like in our world right now with interest rates or whatnot, it's evolving, and we're evolving. We have to adapt. We have to shift or pivot through everything. And people that will say, oh, I'm dead in the water because of this. No, you're not, man. You just have to, it's a pattern of thinking. You're wired so much neurologically in your brain to think a certain way, man. No, dude, just stop that wiring and say, listen, man, start laterally thinking, see what options are to get you through any situation. That's what I do. It's one of my strengths with coaching is I don't consult, I coach. So 90% of my coaching with my clients, which I'm blessed to have fantastic, high paying, beautiful clients, is through questions, and they feel a lot better when they come up with their own answer, and they'll implement it a lot faster than me trying to tell them what I would do, you know? So that's, you know, everything evolves.
Yeah. And going back to responsibility, you know, as someone who's always happy to give, happy to see others win, has there been any time when people have like betrayed you or backstabbed you or stolen from you? And I'm curious if that's happened, how you handled it, and curious, share more about that.
What time is it? You know, as you go in, as you grow your business, because by the time you're 50, you're going to be light years ahead of where I am when I'm 50, because you're starting where you're at. It's going to happen almost on a daily. I don't go looking for it, but you're like, wait a minute, that person said that they would do this. And you know, the Four Agreements, a great book, right? You know, Ruiz says, you know, the number one is be impeccable with your word, right? Like what you say you're going to do it. If not, tell the person you're not going to. And, you know, that's it hurts, but the older I get and the more experience I have, I don't really care anymore. You know, I make 2 New Year's resolutions every year. One is to make someone smile every day, right?
Aww.
Boom, I win, right? You just smile. 2 is that unless I've hurt you, disrespected you in any way, shape, or form, I give 0 you know what you think about me. I don't care. I just don't. So when people hurt me or they disrespect me, then it's just like, I just kind of laugh it off. As long as you've not touched me physically or my woman physically or my family physically or tried to physically take my money or something like that, then I have no problem with you. You can say what you want. You lay your hands on me, I'm just going to defend myself and step away. That's my way. But it happens a lot, Andrew. And again, I'm not trying to coach you or talk.
No,
like
you're good.
Younger. Yeah. It's going to happen to you a lot more, especially again, like I said, the theory of relativity. When it comes to success and money, everyone becomes your relative. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I remember Andrew. Yeah, dude. Hey, buddy, how are you? And you're like, hey, nice to see you again from 19 years ago. You know? So, but you know, it's the flip side of that, Andrew, is that it's a blessing to be in that position. You know, it's a blessing to be able to carry those responsibilities with you. And you as you work your way up with your corporate ladder, you're going to be laid those responsibilities on, right? So it's kind of a cool situation that you have it. So it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I like what you said. Just, you know, laugh it off, be grateful you quote unquote had money to lose in the first place.
Exactly.
And that reminds me, I read a great book this year by I forget the author, but you know, the famous line, people think that P.T. Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute. But he actually has never been credited with actually saying those words.
Right.
And so this book author wrote, there's a customer born every minute. It talks about how P.T. Barnum built his business. And actually a lot of the way, kind of like you know, he was at the top of the line. He had this great real estate deal going, and then he lost everything.
Great story, right?
And people said, well, can you speak about how to make money? He's like, what are you talking about? I just lost it all. They're like, well, you learned how to make all that money in the first place, which is why you can still talk about how to make money.
Right. It's true. It's true, because you get experiences, man. And that's all success is just a combination of experiences that you have. And I'm not talking success monetarily. I'm talking success in anything. You don't become successful without gathering as many experiences as you can. So that's why, like, have you ever seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Oh,
like,
yes. I love
best
that.
movies, right? It's so far-fetched, but the message behind it is say yes, man. Have experiences, you know, it just because, you know, excuses, it's just, they're just excuses for not wanting to experience more. You know, that's where it is. And then people wake up and they're 60 and go, man, I wish. Dude, you could have all day. You know, I fought for this country. So you give you opportunities to do what the hell you want, period. You know, you're just making excuses, you know? So, I mean, winners make adjustments. Mediocre people, I don't say losers, mediocre people make excuses. And that's just the way life is.
One, the best quote is by Jim Rohn. He says, you can have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both.
Yeah, both, man. Yeah. You don't, and he also said, I mean, Rohn is a great guy. You know, he's part of the book I'm ready to regurgitate. You know, it's like, you don't wish for calmer waters, you wish for a better sail. You know what I'm saying? You wish to have the knowledge to build a better sail to sail those waters, right?
Yeah.
So that's where, you know, I really look to, is I look to challenge myself on a daily basis. I mean, I'm up at 4:40 every morning, and I'm on the jiu-jitsu mat at 6 with guys that are 25, 30 years old, and learning and being humbled. I start my day getting humbled all day long because I've been wrestling since I was 3, but these kids are so advanced at their age, just like you and your age right now are more advanced than I was because of what you have access to. Right. So I get humbled every morning. That's how I start my day, is being humbled. And I love that because it just opens up to really listening to what's out there and then being able to serve people in a better way.
Yeah. And I love hearing how much knowledge that you're full of. Tell us more about how you got into coaching, what that's like. How did that journey come about?
Well, the coaching would be at events where people need to be leveled up. You know, they would come to me and they'd always see, like, I'm always shaking hands. I'm a Midwesterner, so I give hugs. When I met you, I'm like, what's up? You know, hug, and like, what's going on, Andrew? This is awesome to see the flesh and see you. And, you know, I don't work rooms. What I do is I'm like a lion stalking, like somebody that, like, you know, a lion stalks that gazelle that's wounded, right? But I'm not there to eat you. I'm there to help.
Allegedly.
Right. I'm there to help you, and to see where I can. And I would just naturally do that. And, you know, this guy's like, listen, man, do you get paid to do this? And this was 7 years ago. And I'm like, do what? You know, I'm like, he's like, to really help people out. And I'm like, I don't. And he's somebody that I respect immensely. When I first met him, he thought I knew who he was, and come to find out he's a big player in the Detroit area, huge player.
Wow.
Sam Mizuraka is his name. And I was like, no. And he's like, well, you should really look into it. I'm like, oh, do I need to get certified? So I went to all these schools and stuff like that to get certified. And I'm not saying they're a waste of time. They're great for practice, but they don't really show you real world experience. But working with people in the real estate business for so long, you know, I'm working with, like, you and your fiance, and like you're buying your first house together. You know, that's arguably your biggest investment to that point in your life. So I had to coach you through that. And I've been doing that since 1997. You know what I'm saying? So I'm able to do it. So it was inherently built to me. And then through Sam, he would introduce me to high C-suite people, and I would talk to them, and you just have conversations. I'd bring them on, and which has led to, you know, my podcast, which led to meeting people that wanted to be coached, and interviewing other coaches so I could refer the business to them. But the coaching, I guess, was always kind of bred in me. Even through the abandonment years, it was like I had to coach myself out of mental situations and do it. But again, I was doing it from a real selfish, ambitious standpoint then, but I was still coaching, you know, in myself. But now, you know, I'm blessed to be able to sit down with people that really need it. And basically, I love to see it. I'm kind of it's funny, your name of your podcast is Rapid Results, because that's what kind of coach I am. I don't coach people for more than 4 to 6 weeks. They come to me, they get leveled up, and they move on. Other coaches send them to me to get leveled up, move on, because I'm not a kid glove coach. I'm like, you come to me, you're going to work. This is what we're doing, and I'm going to push you until your breaking point, and then we're going to build you back up. And that's how I coach. I'm not the right horse for every course. Trust me, I'm not going to take on somebody that's going to be meek and cry. I have a great coach for you for that. You know, but
really, you really have a coach you refer people to for that?
I have coaches that I refer to for everything.
Wow.
You know, that's one thing that's most important, is to build your mental Rolodex with your competition. to
Mm-hmm.
build your mental Rolodex with your alliances.
Mm-hmm.
When people come to me, I want to have an answer for them, and I will
Mm-hmm.
have an answer for them, and that's just through building relationships. That's what I do. I refer out since 2019. I've referred out over $600,000 in coaching business that I could have took on, but I'm like, I would be doing a disservice. I'm not going to
How do
give you
you
the kind of
how do you
coaching.
track something like that? That's crazy. Oh,
Oh,
you
I have.
mean like they would have paid you that amount? Is that what you mean?
Well, what happens is I interview people on my show. I've interviewed over 300 coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're through my show, I send you a coaching questionnaire, and then you fill it out, and then my team, I run a ton of marketing for coaching to bring people into the Time to Shine Today coaching family, and so I run a lot of marketing, and so I get coaching leads pretty much daily, and then my team goes through and says this lead. They fill out like a questionnaire, and they say this person would be great for Todd Cohn, someone that I interviewed, and I put him
Mm-hmm.
with Todd, and Todd and I have an affiliate agreement that if I send him somebody, he pays us a portion of the
Yeah.
referral. So I don't like if you look at on my media page, like I don't want to have anyone to feel like they have no one. Period.
Yeah.
So if no matter what you want to kill yourself, I have the best suicide counselors in the world,
Mm-hmm.
that I can put you with today. Right now, they won't charge you a thing, and then they have therapists that, hey, once you get off that ledge, we're going to put you with a therapist that's going to really help you move forward. We're going to fit your budget, So,
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm blessed to coach again, C-suite, professional athletes. I have a client right now that's been on the cover of People magazine 12 times. So
12 times.
I
Wow.
can't say, I'll say her. I can't say her name,
Yeah.
but it's until our coaching session's done. But again, it's just you come from a place of service and a place of giving where they know you're genuine. It's the easiest, best profession that you could ever be in.
Yeah.
And everybody needs it. I got 5 coaches myself. I pay a lot of money a month for coaching.
Yeah. What are the 5 coaches you currently have?
I have a speaking coach, I'm on stage a lot. I have a speaking coach. I have my own life coach. I have my own therapist. Luckily, my therapists I don't really pay for. They're at the VA with mental hygiene. I have a nutrition coach. I have a jiu-jitsu coach. So I have coaches on everything. And a coach, without a coach is not a coach. Like every coach needs a coach. Period.
Totally. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And like and to know the coaching lineage too, where'd you learn, where'd you come from, and stuff like that. And it's there's no better feeling than really working with somebody and just seeing them whether virtually or in person and seeing that light bulb go off and go boom, I figured it out. Because I coach by asking. I don't ever consult. Like if I was coaching you, I'm not saying this is how I would do it, Andrew. No, that's consulting. I coach by asking very, very powerful questions, no judgment in the question. So I remove why out of any of my coaching questions. Like, why did you do this? Or why is this? No, that's judgmental. You get them there and you see that light bulb go off. And then my want is to be fired by them, within a month, because they don't need me anymore. That's my platform. Now, other coaches, they're great for tune-ups and stuff like that. But my rapid fire kind of coaching, to steal a little bit of your company's name, my coaching, gets me a buttload of referrals from people because you coach them, and you're like, dude, this guy got me, here, and I don't want to sound bad or mean or whatnot, but I'm not cheap. So it's we get it and we're going to get it done. We're going to get those results rapidly.
Yes, that's what we're here for.
So, but no, that's it. Does the love in the best part about it is that I get to wear a different hat every day. Meaning, not everybody has a different thumbprint, just like they have personalities, bro.
Yep. And if you don't mind sharing, what are some of the things you're most proud of taking your clients from A to B in, like either personally or professionally? What are some of your most bragging client success stories, essentially, with people working with you?
One was giving a husband and wife their intimate life back, which it was there was an 8-year period where they weren't. And
wow.
got them to the point where, I just coached one of them. I'm not going to say which one of the sexes I coached, but I coached them, and I had the best gift sent to me in the mail, from them for giving them that life back. And it doesn't sound like much, but when you make a vow to God or whoever your creator is, that's the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and you stay true to them, but you don't have intimacy, that it's just not going to work, so like that was cool. It sounds like a weird thing, now I've had clients that, they've took our sessions and made millions of dollars, with it, and took ideas that they came up with.
Yeah, but you encouraged them with. Yeah.
I didn't, come up with them. I am a question asker, man. That's why, as an interviewee, I kind of suck, I think. Like I look at it, but when I interview people are like, bro, I've never been asked that. And that is boom, it's a win for me. And it's not because, I got you, I asked you something. No, it's because I asked and asked and asked and asked until you got it. And that's the best part. It's so rewarding. Another one, one of my clients, hit 312 in the major leagues last year.
Whoa, that is very good. So yeah,
that was a good one. I do a lot of pro bono work with veterans transitioning into civilian life. I'm hooked into the VA. Don't charge a dime, but I have power sessions with them and say, listen, man, life punched you in the mouth in Iraq. Believe it or not, it's going to be worse here because we're used to structure there. And the thing is, I can consult with them because I've walked their path. I can consult with real estate agents if I coach them because I've walked their path. I might put on my consulting, but like I do a lot of pro bono work with my fellow vets to get their life started when they come back because, they're used to so much structure. And now, you go out into the civilian world and you're trying to get jobs and you're just like, oh, where's the structure? Jobs don't have structure anymore. Like they did when I was younger. There's a lot of structure. They don't have them anymore. So, those are, they're, I guess, bragging on them and what I can do on the free work I do. It actually makes me feel better,
So that is interesting about, you do free work, but of course you're a very high premium coach to work with. I'm curious because obviously, these are the questions that the coaching industry deals with all the time. Like, how do you go about charging the same price to an A-list celebrity or professional player versus a mom who wants to work with you and might have to put a mortgage on her house just to work with you? How do you handle those two scenarios essentially?
It's funny to ask that because I had a somebody who was like one of the co-founders of a huge company that you would know, went through rehab, but not rehab for drugs and alcohol, but went through rehab for overworking, like kind of.
Wow, interesting.
And they came to me to get them leveled up and get them back, on the course. And I told him what I charged, and he's like, "Are you any good?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" He goes, "Dude, if I'm going to pay that, like
it's pocket change."
Basically, basically, I was like, I'm $4,000 a month is what I told him. He's like, and that helped me flip a switch. He actually coached me with that and put me on, made me level up my game and said, listen, I'm going to charge someone $10 a month, right? Then I've got to really level up my game. But I have that, and so now going into discovery sessions with possible clients, I don't have commission breath anymore. I call it, like they're worried about, saying it. I would just say it with, this is what it is, with the mother that needs to take out the mortgage. I'm probably at where I'm at now. I'm not the right coach for her. But we don't want to have anyone to feel like they have no one. I have a freaking stable of coaches that can help her. And we'll help her. Now, if she's like, Fergie, I want you. All right, let's have a 2-hour conversation on the house, me and you. Let's do it. But if you start crying and you're freaking hang up on our Zoom, you're never going to hear from me again. Are we straight? That's how I say it. And she's like, oh, cry. What are you talking about? Because I'm going to dig, dude. I dig. I coach with intensity. And again, I'm not the right guy for everybody. right? I've made people cry and get off the Zoom calls with me. It's not because I'm making them do it. I care so effing much about where they're at, and I've walked a path similar to theirs that I want you to break through. I have to have you break through. This is the way I know how. If my flavor doesn't work, I have somebody that does, and we will make sure that you're taken care of. And I have probably people that I started double digits, 10 or 11 of them, that I've referred to other people, and I am better friends with them now than I am with the ones I've actually coached, because I cared enough to say, hey, I'm not the right horse for the course, but hey, Andrew, you know what? It's like he's doesn't want to charge as much as me, or he doesn't, or Andrew's a lot more laid back, and he's going to ask things like a little bit more, hey, then, okay, what, like I might ask a question that might say, why, like, where were you going with your intention in that situation? And they'll be like, what intention? I'm like, you told me 3 questions ago that you had your intentions set. Where were you going? And then they won't like it, and that's a victory for me, because now we're making progress. Now, if they can keep going through that, like, dude, I see you. What day are you now on your workouts, bro?
106 or 106 or 107 right now. Yeah.
So it was freaking hard on like 12 or 14, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? Exactly. You're still here. So if you can get past those, you're going to go places. I'm going to get you places. I promise you. You're going to get what you need and want. You don't life doesn't give you what you need, right? It gives you what you deserve. So you got to do the work, right? And again, that's a regurgitation from Jim Rohn. That's, again, it's just, it's funny. I'm writing, what my second book, and the name of it's Regurgitation. Tony Robbins regurgitates Jim Rohn, right? Jim Rohn regurgitates Earl Nightingale, the Wallace Wallace, all the way back to Seneca, Aristotle. Marcus Aurelius. So everybody's a regurgitation. You just whatever spin you want to put on. So that's where it's at with coaching for me. It's a passion, and I absolutely love it, and it's a career that I'll never get sick of, ever. No way, man. Just because I like to push people.
And so, I mean, being 50 years old, I mean, it seems like it's pretty cool that you've made it. It sounds like you still have a lot of real estate. Obviously, you get featured in the radio. You have your own coaching business as well. I'm curious. Look, I guess the overall question about that is, tell us more about what do you wish you had done to get here faster? Because it feels like you're on top of the world at the moment.
I say this to myself every morning: do it for the intention, not the attention. Okay, I would have gotten there way faster if I did things intentional and did it to help others. Instead, I was doing it for the attention of, look at me, and it's funny. Look at me. Okay, you go back and you pull up Instagram feeds from 2010, all those people leaning against Lamborghinis and stuff. Nothing against them. I'm not judging them. That's awesome. They're doing that. But how many of them are still around? And how many of them, there's a study that's been done of looking at all those influencers and seeing them now, they're working day jobs. They're working at bowling alleys. They're working at this. They're working at that. They found success. But like myself, because I was raised with a lack mindset, my dad worked on the line at General Motors. They didn't have the mindset to make the money and keep. They had the mindset to make the money, because it just takes drive to get that. But to keep it, that's a whole nother story, brother. That's what I tell people. I'm like, that's what they were trying to tell me. Like, listen, hold on to your money, do right by it. And I didn't. And guess what? Like Gordon Gekko said in Wall Street, money is like a jealous girlfriend, man. Keep an eye on her. She's going to bail. Right. So it's true. And not anything with me is about money. I enjoy it, but it's just a vehicle, dude. So I can go to Orlando in May and see you, and have a great time. It's like you're not flashy, Andrew. Like I see you, you're freaking Andrew, man. You're awesome. But you're going to freaking Hawaii. You're
Mhm.
going to England.
Yeah.
Because you make it so you can enjoy experiences. That's the
Mhm.
only reason why. That's what I tell clients. That's what I tell myself. That's what I tell my family. It's like now I do it just for experiences,
Yeah.
and I get to do what I love every single day. And you can't
Well,
beat it.
and go ahead. Yeah.
No, please.
I was to say, so speaking of watching your money, I mean, it is kind of funny. Like, I think we've officially hit 2 quarters in a row of GDP loss, but they're trying to say there's no recession, but there probably is going to be a recession.
Absolutely.
So the question is, how can people protect their money better and manage it better? Because it is interesting, like you said, like, anyone can make money, but it's just like what Jim Rohn says too. If you take all the money in the world, distribute it evenly, it's still going to end up in the same hands in the same way because people know
Right.
how to manage money. So how can
Yeah.
people manage their money better and watch over it better is the question.
It's again, we'll throw the cliches like pay yourself 10% off the top, no matter what. If you make $200 a week, take $20 and put it somewhere where it's going to grow, right? And
Yeah.
there's so many like real estate investment like things being put together right now where people are buying property. You can put money into it. Like real estate
Yeah.
is a pretty safe vehicle. I mean, nothing is like recession proof or crash proof. There's not, but just be smart with it. Educate yourself on it. Read the purple books. I tell people, Robert Kiyosaki's books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, read that kind of stuff and educate yourself on that. And most of all, do what you love and surround yourself with people that have did it. And then get your asking gear. Ask from the people that have did it what they've done to watch their money, to keep an eye on it, to grow it, to donate it, whatever, and don't live like I did with a lack mindset. Like, oh, I have to do this and do this and do this. You do that, you're going to lose it anyways because your mindset is not there, to have money. And that's the big. I think that is the biggest culprit. Andrew, is that you have to have the mindset of having. That's why you see these kids that come from old money. They don't have a care about it. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
but their fathers and grandfathers and great grandfathers, they worked and they built it and they've instilled that mindset and it just goes through the bloodline. But those people that worked for it, they were probably at a lack mindset at one time and then built it up.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was interesting. I don't know if you know JV Crum the third at all, but he says being successful is 90% mindset and 10% tactics. And I'm curious your thoughts on that, whether you agree or not.
100% agree.
Wow.
Everything is mindset because no matter what industry you're in, there's only certain things, unless you're Elon, right? Unless you're Bill, unless you're Jeff, those guys are revolutionaries. Okay. Those people, like, let's just think about it, man. If you've read the book Atlas Shrugged, if not, pick it up. You got to read it.
You still need to. Yeah.
It's by Ayn Rand. And it's like, just picture this, man. Like, let's say if Steve Jobs is still alive, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, they just go on strike, right? They just quit. Where's the world, dude? Atlas has the world on his shoulders. That's why it's called Atlas Shrugged. But on Rand, she wrote the headlines for what's going on right now today with regards to, again, I don't go too political, but the book is big government is taking over and saying businesses can have this and this, and then they just basically quit. I'm done. Have it. And that's where the people's mindset is today. Of unfortunately, there's a lot of taking and not enough giving. There's a lot of hate and nowhere near enough love. And that's you have to come from a place of love. I legitly come from a place of love. And that's something that was learned as my life progressed. That's where I really think that, I think I totally deviated from your question, but, it's just like we're kind of, I just get really passionate about the people that are going to be taking care of me in the future, dude.
No, 100%. Well, and this is a great topic too, because, I agree that it's unfortunate that, and I hope it's not too political for me to say, it seems like the media does like to separate black and white, Democrat and Republican, medicine versus non-medicine, abortion versus pro rights or pro-life kind of thing. Like the media, the messages all the time are separate. And there's a funny cartoon of a bunch of guys with pitchforks and a bunch of guys with logs on fire, essentially, and like they're rebelling in front of the king. And the king goes, "What are we going to do?" And his servant goes, "It's okay, king. Just tell the pitchfork people that the lighter people hate their pitchforks, so they'll fight each other instead."
Brother, yeah. That's why, again, that's why slavery worked, back then. That's how they got slavery. It never worked. Please admit that out. Slavery never worked. But that's how those assholes got slavery to work.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman named Willie Lynch. It was called the Lynch Mob. That's where he got his name. The Lynch Mob got his name from Willie Lynch. And Willie Lynch, people were like, he wrote the book on, how 10 people can control 300. And he said he would go to a dark-skinned person, a real dark-skinned one, and say, African-American, and say, "Hey, that light-skinned one over there called you the N-word." And then you go to a light-skinned one, see that really dark-skinned one over there, he called you the N-word. And they'd have them fighting amongst themselves so much that 10 people can control. Does that sound familiar, what's happening?
Yeah.
The media only consists of how many people, bro?
Yeah.
Not that many. There's not that many people in the media, my friend. So that's all that's happening. So my remedy to it is I don't watch it. I don't absorb it. I block it, in both sides of the aisle, bro. I block the side that I agree with and the other side.
Interesting.
Okay? And I block them all from IG, YouTube, anything that I can block, Facebook, I block it. Like I'm full of puppy stories and your stories and of you like, "Hey man, 100 day, that's freaking awesome, dude. I'm celebrating people's victories because I want to come from a place of love." And if there's laws, Andrew, I'm going to follow them. They say put a mask on, put a mask on. I'm not the guy that's like, I have my own opinions on it, but is my opinion going to change a thing? Absolutely not. It's not.
Yeah.
Just like, unfortunately, yours probably won't either. Our platforms aren't there, but we can believe what we want to believe. And that's why, this country still is the greatest country in the world. In my opinion, I just tell people, hey, go hang out in Somalia for a day.
Yeah, seriously.
You come back here. Or there's a certain female basketball player that wouldn't stand for our anthem that is in Russian jail right now. Ask her if she really wants to come back. We are the greatest country in the world. And I will stand by that. And if people knock me for it, that's their opinion. And those are the people that I really wouldn't align with anyways. I'm not going to not have a drink with them or anything like that. I just wouldn't align with them to grow a business or, to rely on. That's all. Well,
I think that's the other thing too. People forget too is there's always common ground somewhere. And I use the example of when I was in high school, we had to research like corrupt companies, and like I was researching how bad Coca-Cola treated its staff and how things that they do. But then it's like, but a company or an organization came to Coca-Cola and to help them with the prison system, and Coca-Cola said, yeah. So like Coca-Cola helped contribute to a prison system to like help keep less people out of prison or have better living situations there, essentially. And so that's what I've discovered too, is just because you think different politically or medically, there's a good chance you have common ground somewhere. And I think people forget about that and just and so I'm curious, in your experience, you come from so much love and so much happiness and joy and want to see others succeed. what else has worked for you as far as helping people turn off their animal emotional side of their brain, where if they hear an opposing view, they go, ah. How do you help mend those gaps and remind people that we are human, there's many assets of us, and we don't have to be defined by one ideology, essentially?
Yeah, you need to have your own opinions on stuff. But I can ask my clients, like, what about that really fires you up? And 95%, maybe even higher, it goes to their ego and it goes to their beliefs, right? So and it goes to that, and their beliefs are so ingrained that it attacks their ego. And so, a question would be like, what does your ego mean to you? And then we start digging and digging and digging. And then they figure out, wow, the stuff doesn't matter. It really, in the big picture, it doesn't matter. And then that's how I will coach somebody through it. That's how I genuinely feel that, because of what I've saw in my life and what I've been through, whether military time or just in my time, it's like, bro, it could be so much worse than it is right now. And it's because of what people did for our country or our world, for that matter. So if you can get over, and Andrew, I struggle with it too. Okay.
Really?
I have a
Interesting.
close knit group of friends that I will have discussions with. And sometimes they got to talk me off my soapbox because I'll start, rah, 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 and then they'll be like, Ferg, remember? I'm like, yeah. So that's one thing, is surround yourself with people that, that you want to be like, or, in your tribe, like they say, the cliche, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? The people that you vibe with. And, and then also have discussions with people from opposing views. It's like, my jujitsu partner, Alfonso, is one side of the aisle hard, and I'm the other side, and he's the one person that I can sit and have breakfast with after beating the absolute crap out of each other for an hour and talk about things and disagree and still give each other hugs. I love you, brother.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. It's just because everything comes from love. And if you can keep the ego, including my own, okay, it's like I am full of it. I just don't show it, and that's, I just think that the world would progress a little bit better, but I'm going to do my part, and that's what I want to do. I have no ambitions to have a name on a library or on a street or anything like that. I want to plant trees that I'll never sit in the shade of, bro. That's what I want to do, man. I just want to keep doing that. And just getting people to do it scared, man, to get out there and just have fun in life.
Yes. No, and maybe we all need to do more jiu-jitsu classes, so at least if there is some frustration, we can take it out physically and mentally.
It's such a humbling sport. That it's fun, and that's why I enjoy my time on the mats. I'm done by 7 a.m. and I have my whole day ahead of me. But you're right. I mean, find an outlet. I mean, that's a great segue, is to find an outlet where you can let out the physiological part, right? Because I'm telling you what, you're 100 some days in, bro. And like you finding out that, man, like you're probably a little less anxious right now. You're a little less worried about stuff. Just because you let out physiologically, it changes the neural pathways in your brain for the logical and the psychological. It changes things. You're like, oh, that's not that hard. Dude, just see what I did in exercise or day 56 and look at me now. That's another thing, man. Look at where you've been. Like a lot of people will have a foot in the past, a foot in the future, and piss all over the present, right? But because they live in the past, but learn from the past. Like you can look back at exercise 72 and be like, okay, I remember that feeling. And now you're leveled up, and next thing you know, you're at 350. But learn from the past. Don't live there. I mean, that's why analogy I use with my coaching clients, and this is not reinventing the wheel. A lot of people use it, but the rearview mirror is small for a reason, right? That's where you can check and see what you passed by. You're not going to sit there and drive like this because you'll crash. You have this huge dashboard in front of you. That's your future, right? But you can't live there either. You better watch your speedometer. Maybe make sure all of your stuff in that car is working, or you will crash. Live in the present, dude.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. And then my fiance is station. I'm watching.
That's why they call it the present, right?
Yes, exactly. Boom. Kung Fu Panda. I like it. It's called the present. It's a gift.
It is, dude. Because you plan to live to 100 plus, but live every day like it's kind of your last, man. Just make sure that you're helping somebody smile.
Yeah.
I mean, I eat what's called a gratitude journal every morning, man. And so it's built where the first line is my intention for the day. Today was rock my podcast interviews, enjoy my time with Andrew Weiss, have an awesome trip to Austin, and get some good rest to rock the stage tomorrow. That was my intention for the day. The middle line is my worries. I'm feeling a little sore. I got to get on a plane and be cramped. Put it out there what's bothering you, man, right? But then underneath, I list 14 things I'm grateful for that day.
14? Why 14? Where does that come from?
Okay. Right? It's my number. So the first line's always God. God's my creator. That's who I go to. You can go to your creator, whatever.
Yeah.
The second line is my woman. Third line's my dog. Fourth line's my cats. And then so I got 10 things underneath that I'm grateful for. And you'll be in that log, right? You'll be in my gratitude log or my gratitude sandwich. And the 15th thing, I write a love letter to myself. Scott, you look amazing. You feel amazing. Today, you're going to just crush it on Andrew's podcast. You're going to have fun. You're going to build your relationship even deeper. I love you. And I'd say I love you at the end of one. So you have your top thing with intentions, your middle things with your worries, and then things you're grateful for. It's a sandwich. It squishes out the worries, bro. Get it out there so you know what you're attacking. My clients are mandatory. They eat a gratitude sandwich 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. It's like a workout. You get Saturdays and Sundays off. Get your rest days, right? But that's my clients. The time that they're with me, I want to see their gratitude sandwich every morning. And that's, you have to have it.
That brings up another point. Actually, obviously, you're an expert coach and you're great at coaching yourself. And that's what I would. It was a life coach school with Brooke Castillo. I'm not sure if you heard of her podcast. So she talks about the importance of coaching yourself. And so I'm curious, how do you know what to coach yourself on versus what you allow yourself to be coached on by one of your 5 coaches? How do you handle that?
I have like a mental inbox. And that's a great question, bro. I have a mental inbox, and the things that stay in the inbox because I don't freaking want to do them are the ones I need coaching on. Right? So I get things that come into me and I'm like, let's do this easier thing. That might be harder than that, but I enjoy doing. Right? Then I have coaches for that. Like speaking, I rock a stage. Like it's fun, man. Like I'm known as the rebounder guy, the trampoline guy. Like I start the stagehand brings a trampoline out there. The first 2 minutes of my speech is me rebounding and telling them the benefits of rebounding because I'm telling them, listen, you're an inch off the rebounder, you're at 0 gravity, and I'm doing this while rebounding. Right?
That's cool.
And then when you hit the rebounder, you're at 4 times gravity. So you go 0 gravity, 4 times gravity. You're flushing out your lymph system. That your lymph system's a one-way valve. The only way you can get it out is if you have movement. And so I'm doing that for the first 2 minutes. And so if you're watching me on stage, Andrew, what is your head doing during that time?
Nodding.
You're affirming everything I'm going to talk about after.
Yeah.
I love it, but I didn't learn any of that without getting the right coach. George Hendricks is my guy, man. He's like, and he coached me during COVID. He'd be like, set up your camera, let's do this.
Wow.
So that's like, I know what my strengths are, My strength is like my morning routine, my energy, my communication. Now listening has become a really good strength, and also question asking is a really good strength. Weaknesses would be saying a lot, like the way the speaking, way I communicate. So I have coaches for that. I just did it.
You're good. You're good.
Now I'm going to do it every other word.
Dang it, Scott.
But I'll have a coach, my life coach. I cheated a lot in my relationships in the past, and I have a woman now that I will never do it with. But I'm human, I'm primal, and it's great to have a coach for that. I'm transparent, dude. I've never messed anybody over in business, but I have a fear of other people messing me over in business again. And so I have, coach for that. So it's in my inbox. And when we die, our inbox won't be empty. You know what I'm saying? So everybody wants to do too much all the time. So I leave in there what I need help on, and then I get help as I need it, if you will, if that makes sense.
And how do you not let your ego get in the way? Like, oh, I just got to toughen up. I got to figure it out eventually. Is it because you have weekly calls with these coaches no matter what? Or, how do you prevent your ego from getting in the way of whether or not you can solve something, essentially?
I never had an answer to that until I dug deep. That's a great question. One, someone gave the acronym. Ego means edging God out, and I started really seeing things through other people's eyes and seeing how they are seeing me. And then the people that I didn't care for too much, but then I would turn around and see them through my creator's eyes, my God. If you have a creator, how does your creator see him? They see him with love. They see him as perfect. They see him as something that really helped me lower that ego. And then again, I know I keep bringing up the gentle art, but jiu-jitsu is so humbling, no matter what level you're at. It's so humbling, and it's such a fantastic, depleting yet restoring workout that ego has no room there. So if I'm starting my day where ego has no room, it helps me carry through the rest of my day. Even if I have, I still negotiate large deals in real estate. And even if I have another agent that's just barking at me, sometimes it can flare up, don't get me wrong, but it takes a heck of a lot longer to get me there than it did before, brother.
I love
if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Seeing yourself through God's eyes, where you're loved and you're perfect, but you're also imperfect. And then also deciding how you want to see yourself, and just like recognizing whose eyes you're seeing yourself through and why. So I really like that answer. I know it's a tough question. I'm like you. I love asking tough questions.
I appreciate that. But just really starting to see people that you don't really care for through the eyes that God sees them through, not through their own eyes, but how God sees them. Because if I want to talk about coming from love, then I've got to practice that. Even if I don't want to. It's like probably on day 38, you're like, dude, forget this workout. You know what I'm saying? But you did it anyways. And look at you, bro. You're jacked now. You're like
getting stronger.
Dude, look at that thing, man.
Oh yeah.
Although that arm thing kind of was like, I saw the video.
Oh, I know the shark bite. I mean, jellyfish sting. Coming in hot. Yeah.
Luckily, they had that stuff, because I had one on my leg, and somebody literally had to pee on it.
Oh, that got debunked. It's a myth.
It worked for me, dude. I don't know. Maybe it was mental. But
maybe
it neutralized it, man. Okay. I was like, hey, but it wrapped on, and I was kicking it up the shore. I was in the Navy at the time. And it was not fun, dude. Did you have it happen off of the paddleboard?
No, I was swimming in a little boat in a little excursion. Swimming around a boat in an excursion. I was swimming toward the shore, and apparently I landed right on it. Like you can see each of its tentacles going
dude.
boom, 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 like the whole arm. And I did. Apparently,
They're so beautiful, yet they'll kill you, dude.
if you don't see it, which I didn't see it, that's what happened. But
Awesome.
yeah, this is an awesome way to end things on. Scott, I want to make sure we're on time. It's been amazing. Thank you for coming on today.
Time flew by, Andrew. You're fantastic.
Yes. No, this was so much fun. If people want to get a hold of you, contact you more, be a part of your love, your enthusiasm, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, our direct coaching line is area code 561-440-3830. You could go to timetoshinetoday.com/coaching or /podcast. And we'd be happy to have you listen in to other coaches we've interviewed that we've made shine. And if there's anyone there that you feel that will help you, we'd be happy to put you in touch with them. Or if you're looking for a very aggressive, fun, motivated coaching style, please give me a call at that number as well.
Love it. Love it. Scott Ferguson, everyone. It's been amazing. And we will see you all next week for another episode of Rapid Results. Take care, everyone.
Humbled and blessed, brother. Love your guts.